Skype or telephone interview. In the last video, I mentioned Skype job interviews. However, they deserve a little bit more of our attention because of their importance. A Skype or telephone job interview is when your employer decides whether they will give you a job offer or not. These are some practical tips that you can use to prepare yourself for your Skype job interview. Skype username. Make sure your Skype username looks professional. For example, if your name is Marko Petrovic, Skype username marko.petrovic may look better to your prospective employer than, for example, username wildbeast.marco77. Camera, speakers, and microphone. Make sure your webcam, speakers, and microphone work properly. If possible, use standalone microphone and speakers rather than headphones with attached microphone. You don't want to look funny with some huge headphones on your head during your job interview. Small earpieces instead of big speakers are also okay. However, try to avoid huge headphones. No interruptions. Arrange everything with people who live with you ahead of time so that no one interrupts you during the job interview. You do not want your kids run around while you speak with your potential employer. Also, close all other applications on your computer. You don't want distractions from your Facebook Messenger, etc. Your appearance. Make sure you look presentable. Put on clothes which are not casual. Check your haircut and overall appearance. And make sure you look like someone who cares about the outcome of his job interview. Lighting and background. Make sure lighting in the room is not too strong or too dim. After you ensure you look presentable, double-check what your employer will see behind you. Keep in mind, everything we see conveys a certain message, either good or bad. Make sure what is in the background is either neutral or it works for you. Practice run. 1 hour or so before your job interview, speak with your friend or relative on Skype and practice your answers to the questions you anticipate. This will help you be more relaxed during your job interview, and also it may help you fix something that you might have not noticed. It is okay to have notes somewhere on the desk in front of you, but try not to rely on the notes too much. Relax. Try to relax as much as possible during your job interview. Smile when appropriate. Look into the camera instead of the computer screen. That way it appears you are making eye contact. Have measure. When answering questions, make sure your answers are not shorter than 20 seconds and not longer than 2 minutes. If you have more to say at 2-minute points, you may say something like, "I will be happy to tell you more about that if you're interested," and leave it to the employer to decide. Overall, try to balance speaking and listening so that you speak approximately 50% of the time and that your employer speaks approximately 50% of the time. When you contact Canadian employers, tell them you won't take more than 20 minutes of their time. After 20 minutes of your job interview, Tell them you are aware 20 minutes have passed. However, you will be happy to answer any additional questions if they have time. Ask questions. At the end of the interview, or towards the end of the interview, or when your employer invites you to ask questions, feel free to ask questions. However, make sure those are the questions that cannot be answered by visiting the employer's website or using Google search. Keep in mind, after the job interview, you want the employer to feel you are credible, believable, which means all those good things you said about yourself are true, likable, you have soft skills they need, memorable. Chances are you may not be the only person they will interview. You want them to remember you after a couple of days or weeks. LMIA application. Explain to the employer that you understand they have to apply for LMIA and that process is fairly complicated and time-consuming. It may work to your benefit if you tell your potential employer that you are in the contact with a Canadian regulated immigration consultant. For example, Milorad Borota, which is me, can help your employer with their LMIA application. Many Canadian employers will certainly appreciate that opportunity because most of them are too busy with their day-to-day work, and also they may not be familiar with the LMIA application process. What is next? It is okay to ask your employer at the end of the interview whether they will give you a job offer, which means whether they will apply for LMIA for you, or not. If they say they do not know at this time, you can ask them when you can expect their decision. If they say within 1 week, for example, and they do not contact you within 1 week, you should contact them again and tell them you are very interested in the position and you were wondering what was their decision. If their decision is negative, you thank them for the interview anyways and ask them if they know of any other employers who might be hiring people with your qualifications. Thank you email. Whatever the outcome of the job interview might be, the following day send an email and tell the employer that you are thankful for the time they took to speak with you and that you hope you will have a chance to work for their company, in case they have not made their decision yet. Or thank them for the interview and tell them you are looking forward to receiving positive LMIA letter from them and coming to Canada to work for their company.